Hamas has shown itself to be an enemy of civilization. Hamas is ISIS, and just as ISIS was crushed, so too will Hamas be crushed.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowing that his military forces will crush Hamas terrorists who launched their first surprise attack on Israel a week ago today. On Friday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was also in Israel as the U.S. begins charter flights to evacuate Americans. As Israel pounds Hamas targets, could the war widen in its scope and even involve more formal U.S. military engagement? To discuss, we welcome former Deputy National Security Advisor in the Trump administration and the author of Revolution, Trump, Washington, and We the People, KT McFarland. KT, always good to see you. Thank you for making time for us. The chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Texas Congressman Michael McCaul, stated that lawmakers have learned that Egypt may have warned the Israelis 3 days prior that an attack like this could happen. So either way, this is a major intelligence failure on the part of Israel, the U.S. With a week of hindsight, KT, what are your theories about how this happened?
You won't know, and you won't know until well after the dust settles. I mean, were the signs all there, and maybe the Israeli intelligence just didn't put all the sort of dots together? Did they decide that, well, we don't really want to believe this, so therefore we're not going to believe this? Did they know and maybe decide to absorb the attack? You just don't know, and you can't.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to even decide now. The most immediate thing they've got to figure out now is what's next as they go into Gaza. And what do they do once they go into Gaza?
The Biden administration has said, KT, that they won't put troops on the ground in Israel. But let me ask you, if Hezbollah should engage here or the attacks on Israel widen, should the U.S. use its air power and other military assets like special forces to aid in crushing these terror groups once and for all?
You know, Tom, the interesting thing is that Israel has never asked for American military assistance, direct military assistance. They've asked for weapons, they've asked for intelligence sharing, they've asked for assistance, financial assistance. But Israel has always said, give us what we need to defend ourselves by ourselves. So Israel is not asking for that. Now, what happens if American hostages are held? Will American special forces go in and try to get them? Again, let's cross that bridge when we find out about it. But the most immediate thing is, what is Israel going to do now? And then where is the world public opinion going to be about a week from now?
Well, and that's always the question, right? Is that at the beginning of all of these conflicts, people they rally around the flag, right? And then they get tired, and the administration starts to equivocate. And I want to talk to you about that because John Kirby at the White House yesterday started pivoting on Ukraine. He started pivoting. He changed the tone about the administration's commitment on Ukraine. I talked about this earlier in the show. I don't think that any of this is a coincidence. I think that you have Iran and Russia and China, and they're all communicating about what they're doing and how they are going to divide U.S. resources and attention and that of the West. What are your thoughts on whether or not we have the ability to deal with these crises in two, maybe three parts of the world at the same time?
You know, this is the big problem. You're absolutely right. The bad guys are all looking at the United States and sensing weakness or preoccupation or political dysfunction. And they're all saying, wait, it's now or never. You know, the United States is drawing down some of its own readiness to help in Ukraine. That's a stalemated war. The United States has this sort of unrequited love affair with Iran, but that's not going very well. The United States is not maintaining the technology lead that we need to deal with Chinese technology advancements. So everybody's looking at this and saying, now's the time. I'm going to go take my chunk. It's like sharks kind of going after a piece of meat. They're each are going to get their piece of the meat while they think the United States is distracted and preoccupied. So that's why they're doing it. Now, can we cope with all of these? Not if you keep cutting the defense budget. Not if you keep allowing China to have these major technological advances and in artificial intelligence, in robotics, in quantum computing, and we don't spend any money on it. I mean, for example, one thing that nobody really wants to talk about, the Russians and the Chinese have developed a hypersonic weapon. It's a whole new class of weapon. We have no defense against it, and we don't have any of our own. Our defense industry hasn't managed to build hypersonic weapons. So that's one example where we're falling behind. And then I think there's also the issue, Tom, of will. Right now the world is united behind Israel. But once Israel goes into Gaza with inevitable civilian casualties because Hamas uses its women and children as human shields, they want the civilian casualties.
Right.
Then will the world turn on Israel and say, hey, wait, you've gone too far. We've got to drop our support of Israel, and will Israel be isolated and alone?
And it's important. It's important to note that the Israelis have repeatedly now told the civilians in Gaza to leave. The Hamas government is telling them to stay because they're doing exactly what you're saying, KT. They're using them as human shields. What do you think we're going to see in the week ahead, KT?
Okay, so I think Israel goes in, and it is not necessarily going to be easy. It's going to be it's not going to be quick, and Israel is going to have to go door to door to door. The Palestinians are really dug in. It's just think of it like a shanty town with a lot of apartments in it. The Israelis, if they're going to find the hostages, if they're going to find the Hamas leadership, it's going to be hard, it's going to be long, and there will be civilian casualties. So then you have to figure, so what's Hezbollah on the north of Israel? They're more sophisticated. They have much better rockets and missiles. They're long supported by Iran. What if they decide to fight and open a second front on Israel in the north? And then on the east of Israel, on the west bank of the Jordan River, it's the east of Israel, there are a number of splinter terrorist groups that might decide, well, it's my time to get in too. So Israel could be surrounded militarily. Can Israel deal with this militarily? Yes, but only if it continues to have support from the United States, intelligence cooperation from the United States, and only if the world is sort of stands strong with Israel in the days and weeks ahead. In the past, Israel is treated, whether it's Hamas or Hezbollah or the various terrorist groups, like mowing the grass. The bad guys get a lot of weapons from Iran. They build up the weapons. They lob a few missiles and rockets into Israel. Israel goes in, cleans out the weapons depot, mows the grass, comes back. This is not the same thing.
Yeah.
Israel is now going to get going to be scorched earth to get the Hamas leadership.
Well, this is the difference between fighting the war and winning the war. And I think that when it comes to the Israelis and when it comes to the United States, we have equivocated because we've become fighters, but we haven't really been winners. And you really need that will to stay the course in order to win against a multi-generational threat like Islamic terrorism. Former Deputy National Security Advisor KT McFarland, thank you so much, ma'am. Appreciate you being here.